Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Drop Talk, YouTube's premier off the clock appliance repair network. I'm your host with the most, Brother B, and you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for YouTube's premier, often imitated, often never duplicated appliance repair network. Tonight, want to get some quick news out of the way. Please go check out tmmacademics.com. We are officially launching in June. We got four courses that we're gonna be putting out. Please check out the go to courses, go to the drop down bar, and go to dates or schedule. You'll see which professor will be teaching that Saturday. Please enroll. Also, please sign up for TMM Academics. Go to our classifieds. If you're selling parts, if you're hiring, firing, retiring, whatever, start a thread, start a discussion. Check it out. But with all that news out the way, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get to tonight's guest. This guy, ladies and gentlemen, I don't bring on just anybody. I bring on the best of the bests. And ladies and gentlemen, it brings me great content, great delight, great. I'm excited. I would like to introduce you guys to somebody who I look up to, somebody who, when I first got my feet wet, was like a mentor, a professor, held my hand, him, in addition to some other guys. I'm glad I met this brother. This is my brother from another mother, coming all the way from Louisiana, my brother Walt. Brother Walt, welcome to the channel.
Well, those are some very big words. I hope I can continue to live up to that if I ever lived up to it in the first place. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, brother. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you guys a quick speech of how me and brother Walt met. Again, I was part of a online forum, and apparently there was a walkie-talkie group of guys who had a very select niche and a very small circle. And I don't know how I stumbled into that exclusive group, but I was privileged to meet the world's finest techs. These guys made me professionals. They beat me up all the time, but I needed it because they were grooming me. So that's how me and brother Walt met. He and I go back many years. We met in person in ASTI Tampa.
It's the only place we've met in person. Hopefully, I'll see you I'll be down in Orlando in September for the PSA convention.
Now, going to the. I'm sorry.
I was saying I'll officially invite you here to go down there. I'll meet you down there. We'll have a couple of 12 packs together.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Brother, you going to the one in San Antonio?
I'll be there too.
Now, brother, let's get into some stuff here. Tell the community about yourself, how long you've been doing appliance repair, what city you're out of, a little bit about your business, your company. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
All right. I'm in Mandeville, Louisiana. We're about 30 miles north as the crow flies from New Orleans. It's just a suburb of New Orleans, kind of a suburban, rural kind of area, depending on where you go. I am about a 1 2/3 man show. I have Tiffany, who runs the office. She schedules all the calls. I run about 5 to 7 calls on a good day, 7 to 10 on a bad day, which don't happen too often, thankfully, because I don't like those kind of days. Tech Lewis, he can do about 3 or 4. He's slow, but he's very thorough. People like him, so that's fine, no problem. And I have another guy who helps me out, Ryan, but he has a full-time job, so he can do a couple jobs a day when he's off of work. I've been doing this. I started back in the days of the wigwag. We used to pick up used appliances off the deliveries. So I started by delivering. Rode in a old red Mazda pickup truck, a little bitty 5-speed truck that we drove around. We'd deliver washers, dryers, refrigerators, and we'd pick up the old ones, we'd bring them back to the shop, we'd fix them, and we'd sell them. So that's how I got my start. After that company went into delivery services. I went to college. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, of all things. I got out of school and went back to work for that company that was running the delivery company as a manager. I worked there in 2000 till 2005. 2005 came through. Katrina knocked out most of the stuff that we were doing. So I got out of that, got into trucking, world of trucking. And that lasted for a couple of years. I had a trucking company started probably beginning maybe of 2006. And then eventually a buddy of mine was selling cars, and somebody came through and he was appliance repairman over here. And he said, we always need help. We can't find anybody to work. He says, I know a guy who might be interested in that. So he calls me. He says, hey, I talked to this guy and he needs help. He does this. I don't think I'm really interested. And so the trucking thing, I was doing the accounting. So I was running the books. I was doing the computer, all that stuff. And that's all I did. So I had time. So I said, why not? Why not? So I called the guy for about a week straight. I couldn't get him on the phone. And finally, I get him on the phone. He says, meet me at Chili's. It was a Thursday night. So I meet him at Chili's Thursday night at like 5:30. He drinks these 2 beers that are about this big because it's happy hour. I swear these things are the biggest thing. Probably 30-something ounce beers. And he says, I'll pick you up tomorrow. Like, okay. So I guess I'm hired. I don't know. So he shows up. He picks me up. We go out. And, man, I was just like that. I was hooked. It was the coolest thing ever. We ran probably 5-6 calls. I saw that, this is back in 2006. So the technology really wasn't what it is today, which thankfully, because I could see that be very intimidating to somebody to come on today. But back in 2006, it was different. So I started running the weekend calls on his parts jobs. And I would call him for help, and I would get on the computer, and I would read and try to figure out everything that I could to be prepared to go out and deal with something like that. I had experience as a salesman when I was in college, so that kind of helps out a little bit with dealing with people, I think. And I kind of took the ball and ran with it, and that was back 14 years ago, and that's when I've been doing this full time, 14 years, and it's been great. I love it. It's a great job. I have fun doing it. I like meeting people. I like petting the people's dogs. It's probably the greatest thing in the job to me. And I just take some cool videos when I have some decent ideas and put stuff together, and I really like it.
Now, let's back up a little bit. I didn't know you had all of these accolades. So you have a degree in criminal justice?
Yeah.
Mostly. And you chose, and you can, I'm assuming, get like a nice office job, with all the perks and white collar. But
Who wants that? God, that sounds horrible.
You prefer to put that diploma on pause and become an appliance repair technician.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you said you rode along with your guy and the gentleman that had the 2 beers. And please, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button for the gentleman that had the 2 beers. But you start driving now with this guy. You do how many calls? 7. What is it about those calls that you ran that you said, like, this is for me?
I don't know. I don't really know what it was. Maybe it was the checks he was getting. I've also worked at a mechanic shop in college. I don't even remember the years. It was sometimes around my college years, early college years, and I would go in at when I got off of school. So I go to school like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever it was. I get off at 5, 6, 7. I'd go to the shop at 9 o'clock at night. I'd work till 2 in the morning. I was making bank working in that mechanic shop because he was paying me by the original book, which came out for cars. So 4-hour job on that, it would pay. I could do it in an hour, and I would just knock out 6 of those in a night and then go home at 2 in the morning when the bar across the street shut down. So that's, I guess, being able to get back into working with my hands and fixing things and understanding mechanics of things and all that. I think that's what did it for me. I've always been a real hands-on guy. I played music forever. I've always built things out of wood, or never really got into metalworking, but I've just always worked with my hands. That's what I was put on earth to do. And being able to work with the mechanical, the electrical, the computers. I built my first computer when I was probably 14 years old. So I built one for my uncle at 16 and traded him that computer for his boat. And that was the first boat I had. I like being outside too. So I've always been into this stuff, and the world of appliances wraps all of these different facets from these different areas of work between the mechanical, the electrical, and the computer, and brings them all into one thing where we can do it all at the same time. And it's like, it's the greatest thing, because me and David were talking one day, and this was years ago, and we were trying to figure out how many service calls that we've been on. And it was his number, because he's been doing this longer than 10 years, I think, longer than I have. We came up with like 20, 30,000, whatever it was, service calls. If you figure you do 4 a day for so many days a week, for so many years, you multiply all that out, and it comes out this tremendous number. And you still say, we see something new every day that we have to sit there and we got to figure out what's wrong with it. And it's cool, all of these different things. And it's not very many people that can do that kind of work. And for me to be able to go and be one of them and meet people like you and Kurt and David and a lot of good guys in this industry. And it's rare, to me, it's always been hard for me to connect and just feel like I was understood, because people don't know what we do. They don't have our kind of mind. And in this industry, this is like people like-minded like I am. And it's like we all have the same disease and we can all talk about it.
Talk about it. That's the motto here at this stage. Let's talk about it. Let me ask you another question. Because for those that don't know, they're probably seeing you like, oh, Brother B got some guy on here. Hell no, this guy is not just some guy. He's downplaying his skill set. He's being very modest with you folks. But Brother Walt, you're a beast at everything. You do sealed system. You're schematic pro. You do washers, dryers, high end, low end, in the middle end, rear end, and tail end. You do it all. How the hell did, number one, because I'm still stuck at how you had such a promising route to go with the degree. You end up in appliance repair. How the hell did you get from that to this and then learn seal system, high end? Like, where'd you get all that training from?
It's garage hours, nighttime, fun. To me, it's fun. It's always been fun.
So he would bring appliances to the garage.
Not so much appliances, the things from appliances. So you take the boards home. I try to look over them. I play with the boards. So on occasion, I would take a washer home or a refrigerator home. I've done that too, where I've said, I wonder what would happen if I did this. And so I did that. One of them being this guy right here, this refrigerator. Mm-hmm. It's stuff that people would tell you that there's no way you can do that. There's no way that you can take a Samsung compressor, a VCC3 control board, a Sub-Zero evaporator, and an Arduino and program them all and make your own refrigerator out of it. It's like, you can't do that. It's not going to work. All these things are not going to work together. And I say, oh, yeah, well, watch me. I'm not the kind to sit and argue about it. I would say, well, let's see what happens if we do it. And that's always been something that I've enjoyed. And brazing, for instance. And when we started to have to do copper to steel, I sat in the garage and I'd start looking around. I'd say, what do I have laying around that I can braze together? And I'd go, oh, look, I got this old brass valve from this. I got these screws laying around, and I'd stick them in the vise and I would braze them together just to practice at doing it, because that was just something that I enjoyed doing, is getting better at the things that I think I need to be getting better at. So to me, it's always been fun. It's always been challenging, and it's interesting, and it keeps my brain working. And as long as my brain's going, I'm happy. If my brain stops, then I'm not happy. So
you're self-taught then, basically.
Well, no, I can't claim that I'm completely self-taught. I've learned a lot of stuff off of appliantology. I've learned a lot of stuff off of Jake's repair forum. I've learned a lot of, actually, the most stuff that I've learned is from teaching other people. I was always the go-to guy on one of the websites for ice machines, and that kept me learning stuff and helping other people. And that's kind of how I learned to play guitar. A friend of mine said, "Oh, I want to learn how to play guitar." I said, "I'll teach you." He says, "You know how to play?" I said, "No, I don't, but I'll figure it out and I'll teach you." So he came over and I figured it out and I taught him how to play. And that's the same kind of way that I did the appliance repair thing, is that I just really dove into it head first. And it was it was like, it was just a, it was kind of an obsession, I guess you would say, as to see what's going on with this and what's going on with that. Now, there weren't as many models back then at the time, so you kind of got to learn a model, and that helped. That worked for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. So I just enjoy it.
Let me ask you another question. My channel, I get a lot of guys that like haven't began anything about appliance repair. They're just curious, or they're working like a job and they're attracted by the allure or potential of being in this industry. What advice, because I get that question asked all the time, and like I said, you were responsible for molding me into the technician I am. Well, part of that you and a bunch of other older guys.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that, but thank you.
No. I want to give a special shout out to Walter, Brother Durham, David Oliva, Patricio, Michael Moore, Kurt, all my guys at AATA. I love you guys, man. And I know I've been gone, but I've been building this, man. And I still got time to come and talk to you guys. But anyway, I want to get back to what advice would you give a guy or gal that's watching this and wants to get into the appliance repair business? What would you say?
Read as much as you can. But
Read.
Watch what you read. Forums online, mainly. That's the biggest thing. The problem I see with the forums that wasn't as bad back in 2006 as what it is now is the naysayers. There wasn't that much of that going around. Now it's always it's almost like internet trolls. You got to watch what they say, what they tell you, and watch who you believe. A lot of stuff you're just gonna have to figure out yourself, and that's the kind of way that it came to for me. If you think you're interested in it, read on. See, if you think you want to know why this machine works and this machine doesn't work, start small. You can't try to take it all on at one time. You take on start with drives. That's the simplest thing around, I would think, and then go from there. And the other thing is, when you look at a machine, it's easier, I think, to look at the things that the machine does, and don't let it complicate itself. You don't worry about the normal versus the high versus the low versus any of those settings. You take a dishwasher, for instance. It does what, 5 things? It fills, it sprays, it drains, it heats, and then the door opens. That's all it does. So it's not as complicated as what it's made out to be. I always say you got to get to the bottom of it and simplify it as much as you can to get to what's it not doing. And then if you think you're interested in that and doing that kind of stuff and being completely sidetracked by being hit by an airplane when you look both ways across the street, you like appliance repair, because that's kind of how it is.
Do you remember your first call alone?
No.
No?
No.
What? I feel like everybody remembers their first alone by themselves call.
No. I don't remember it.
Okay, I'm not gonna let you off the hook. Do you remember your first call that you felt overwhelmed in your rookie years? And I say that because there's an intention behind that. I say that so that when guys that watch my channel who are about to begin this endeavor and they reach that point, hopefully they remember this interview and you tell them something good.
That was my first month. I didn't know that. So, and I was trying to get getting them uninstalled and running parts jobs. And what I would do would pull up the breakdown, because what I would get, the guy I worked for, he would take off Fridays. So I'd run his parts jobs on Fridays. I'd take the calls on Saturdays, and then Sundays I'd take calls, and that's good for the week. So I would get a pile of parts on Friday, and I didn't know what I was going to or where I was going. I just got these pile of parts. So they'd have them these are the people you need to call, and they'd have whatever they are. So I'd call them and schedule them. And I'd go out there, and I'd have this part, and I go, I have no idea where this part goes in this machine. I've never seen this machine before. I don't know really what it is. I don't know what it does. What do I do? So,
but I'm gonna put it in.
That's right. I'm gonna put it in. Watch this. I'm not messing around. So I'd pull up the parts breakdown, and I pull up the parts breakdown, and I would look at the parts breakdown. I would find the part. I would see where it went, and I would kind of back up from there to figure out how to put the part in.
Yeah.
And as it went on, and I did my calls by myself, that's kind of how I would start. I'd look at the breakdown, and I would say, okay, it's supposed to do these 4 things, and it's not doing this one. What makes this one work? And I said, well, you got the motor's going to make it work. This timer at the time is going to make it work. These wires, and maybe this switch. And I would go through each one of them, and I would check each one of them until I figured out what the problem was, and that's how I got started.
Did you have any electrical training or electronic training?
Not formal, no. I mean, I worked as an electrician's helper when I was 15. That was my first job I've ever had, but that was just pulling wires. It was front work, changing fans and attics and pulling wires.
But did you get like voltmeter training, schematic training?
No.
And you just grasped all of this?
What else? You gonna sink or swim?
All right. So talk to me, Brother Walt. On a typical day, you say you run how many calls?
I try to do 5.
Okay. Now this is shop talk, and we ask, some intimate questions, but you can refuse. Do you care to share your how you receive your calls, i.e., like, do you do mostly warranties? Do you do mostly CODs? Are you property man? Like, of your pie chart of 100 calls, do you have a specific stream of calls that come from certain places? You don't got to get into who and all that, but just like for the guy out.
I'm glad to tell you. Let me shut this door. The dogs are barking and they're aggravating. It's kind of distracting. I'll be right back.
Shout out to Brother Walt. For you guys that don't know, man, that's a good brother right there, man. He held my hand when I first started, man.
So I have one ad. I run one ad with the yellow pages here. It's $100 a month. So most of my stuff comes from word of mouth, referrals, and my website. I got a website. It's not very big. I have a blog. It's not very big. And whenever I ask anybody how you find me, they always say the internet. I say, well, how on the internet? And nobody knows. They just went to the internet and they searched it in, and half the time they call me a different name. They don't even know who they call half the time, it seems like. But some kind of way to find me, which is cool.
Wow. So you don't do warranty work?
No, I do one. Well, I'll take that back. I do warranty work for Agomorville. I do it for Thermador, Bosch Gaggenau. And that's really about it. I do a home warranty company, but I might get one call every 3 months from them. I think I'm like their last guy on the list when nobody else can figure it out. And that's really it.
Wow. Now, how many of your competitors you think is? Well, let's back up. Your town is, one more time, Mandeville. Mandeville. How many? And shout out to Mandeville, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share button for Mandeville. Brother
Right,
Walt, how many?
I have no idea how many people are in Mandeville. I'd have to look. Let me see.
Because I'm over here scratching my brain saying, if I, ran with those, with that recipe of yours, like how you say, okay, I got my website, I get word of mouth. Like, man, I get lost in the sauce, man, because my area is heavily populated with appliance repair technicians.
255,000 is what it says.
Jesus. One of my projects in New York got that, and that's in one borough, and there's multiple projects of that. So that's a very small population, but that's also good because I'm assuming you don't got a lot of competition.
I do. There's probably, I would have to guess, about 8 to 10 other companies around here. A couple of them, me and 2 other ones, we get along very well. We always have. There's a really big one, which it's not me. I'm not looking to have 100 techs. And they seem to do pretty good. So there is some competition out there, but it's. I think I established myself at the right time to be able to take it away, where I don't have to really deal with it. That's something that the guy I learned from always said. There's enough work to go around. You don't have to fight for it. You know?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
always enough work. You don't have to be the low guy on the cheapest or the crooked running around snaking calls from other people. You know, and that's kind of how I've always been. I've just always said, you know, I don't want all the work. I don't need all the work. I taught a guy here how to do it. Actually, the guy who connected me with Jerry, the first guy who got me into it, the two beer guy.
Shout out to the two beer guy. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share button to the two beer guy.
So, and after I learned how to do this, I told him, I said, dude, get away from the car dealership. You're working 18 hours a day. You're not getting paid shit. I said, I can teach you how to do this. It's not a big deal. Come with me. I'll teach you. And I taught him. He worked for a guy for a while who was shady as fuck. And he finally started his own company. And he's in it. And we're still, today he sent me a compressor job. So, you know, we all work together over here.
Now, you also said you got one tech, and then like a subcontractor you got, right?
Right.
So you said you do 4 to 6 on the average, but I'm assuming you got to fill up your subs books too, which is another 4 to 6 as well.
He does 3.
Okay, so you getting about 8 to 9 to 10 calls a day?
Yeah.
Not too shabby, brother Walt. Not too shabby.
Yeah,
And you do high end.
It's enough for me. I'm happy with that. You know, I don't
And
really.
you do high end, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I like to do. Also. I always forget the warranty companies that I'm signed up with because I forget about them. Because I don't do that much work for them. So today I got authorized for Speed Queen, which is more of a that was kind of pushed into that by a local shop that refers me for all their Bosch limit or all the stuff that they sell that breaks, and they also sell Speed Queen. So they wanted to be able to recommend me to go out and do it. So I started signing up with them about 6 months ago. Today I finally got the welcome to the family email from them, and then the lot for new ranges. That's another one that I do, but I don't really get too many calls from them. I think I've been on 3 ever.
How'd you get your sealed system training?
Playing in the garage.
Talk about it.
Seriously, playing in the garage, and let's see what happens. You know, I've always been skeptical of, back to what I was saying about don't believe everything that you read, especially the naysayers, because when I was doing automotive work, that would have been around 96. Come to think of it, because that's when 134 took over. Or it was on 93, 93. And so anyway, when they first came out with 134, if you had to retrofit a system from 12 to 134, they told you had to change the compressor, the condenser, the evaporator, the
heat exchanger.
No, well, it's not heat exchanger. I'm talking automotive.
Oh! I'm thinking them Sub-Zeros with the R12s in the back.
Well, they may have. I don't know that side. The expansion valves. It basically told you had to change the whole system to change it over from 12 to 134. So as time went by, you know, they come out and they say, well, you don't have to change this, and then you don't have to change that, and then you don't have to change that. And eventually it got to, well, you can change it over. All you got to do is just dump the oil in the compressor, fill it back up with oil, and fill it with 134, and it's fine. And all that time, all the people have been changing all this stuff and paying thousands of dollars to have all that work done. So, you know, if you were a shop, you imagine you were a shop and you knew what you could do beforehand by just dumping the oil. And then I think it even came down to don't even dump the oil, just dump it. At the time, they might have said dump it or recycle. We had a recovery and filtering machine, so we wasn't dumping it. It was recovering it and refilling. So basically, what I'm saying is the whole thing was just a big sham. And so that kind of got me to thinking that I can't really trust what these people say, so I got to figure it out for myself. And that's how I learned the seal system. We just figuring it
Let
out.
me
Jerry
ask,
taught me how to braze, and then once I learned how to braze, it was just go from there.
let me ask you something. Um, if and this is for my knowledge, and that's why I say you might, so you basically telling me if you have a Sub-Zero or Viking or any one of them old built-in KitchenAid built-in 48-inch big boy, and and they got the old school R12 refrigerant in it. What do you do when you get like a leak or something and you got to swap out the evaporator or you get an inefficient compressor? What do you change in those systems?
Depends on what's broken. You got a bad compressor and it depends on the brand. So Sub-Zero, you can call Sub-Zero tech support and tell them that you want a 134 compressor to put into that 501R from 1982 or whatever year it was, and they'll give you a part number. Now, on the other ones, just find one.
Okay. Now, what about now of all the appliances that you do? Because you do microwaves?
Yeah,
Are those profitable?
the built-ins, yeah, the
The
built-ins
built-in.
can be very expensive because of the trim kits.
And what about the combination ones that come with like the microwave up top and then the oven below?
They can be hard. They get expensive. So yeah, I've worked on plenty of those. It's not my favorite thing to work on because you have to pull them and they're heavy. But I got an
You have the no dollar?
yeah. I'm telling you, all dolly and an air sled, I should have started using 10 years ago.
Oh, you have an air sled?
Yeah.
You know, they were at ASCI this year. They gave a performance. And man, I heard of it, but it's nothing like seeing it. And shout out to Air Sled if you're watching. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Ladies and gentlemen, I got my brother Walt in the building. This is one of my mentors. I hope y'all enjoying tonight's episode. Brother Walt, you got a Facebook and you got a YouTube. You got a YouTube. Now, go ahead and promote yourself. What's your face? Do you care to, or you prefer to?
It doesn't matter. I'm under The Appliance Technician under Facebook. So Facebook/The Appliance Technician. And then on YouTube, some kind of way, my channels got screwed up. So I have two channels. And you can't combine them. One is under The Appliance Technician, and the other one's under my name, Walter Baumann. And I got some cool videos there.
Talk about it. What you got on there? Talk about it.
Well, I've got something back to the sealed systems and the compressors and what'll happen if. So one of the things that I did, these inverter compressors. An inverter compressor is a BLDC inverter compressor is a BLDC inverter compressor. It doesn't matter what brand it is. It doesn't matter to what board will run it. You can run any BLDC inverted compressor off of any inverter compressor board. So that was one of the things that I set out to do, was kind of play with that. And I have a video of me with an Arduino that's programmed to run a BLDC compressor at different speeds. So I'm using the VCC3 board, just like the Frigidaire, Whirlpool, KitchenAid, GE used. Now there's two as of last time I checked. It's been a while. And it basically just works off a pulse width modulation system. So what I just programmed an Arduino off of a program called Hello World, and all it does is flash a light, which is all that PWM is it basically flashes a light. But it flashes a light so fast you won't be able to see it. So you add time to it to where it flashes a light so many times, and then you make it faster and faster and faster. And once that signal gets in the range of the board will run the compressor. So one of the videos on there is called inverter compressor testing the beginning, and that's what I'm showing. I'm showing what the signal looks like going to the VCC3 board that's running a Samsung BLDC inverted compressor, and it's just to show that there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of stuff that's not true floating around out there about things that you can't do. And if you wanted to pursue it, you could pursue it to do other things with it. Like one of my videos is changing out the linear compressor with the LG that are just terrible compressors
Shout out to LG, brother Walt. Man, those people
Right.
put my kids through college. If LG, if you're watching, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button.
So, and that is, that's one that I did that actually Tiffany has in her house, where I took the linear compressor out. I put in a regular compressor. I ran a relay running off of the signal going to the condenser fan. So the condenser fan's supposed to run when the compressor's on, right? So you just kind of backwards to where you take that signal going to the condenser fan and you run the compressor off of it with a little control board that's made up with just a 12-volt relay on it. So, you know,
Oh,
that's
you
the kind
gotta,
of stuff that
you gotta record that. You gotta record that,
it's
and
on there.
you gotta. It's on there.
Yeah, it's on there.
I'm gonna take it. All right, and I'm gonna send people there because that's pretty cool, man. Have you had recalls with it?
No, I don't do it all the time. That was just kind of a test run. But on that channel, I have people that they've done it, and they've, as far as I know, they're still using them. I know the one that I did, that was 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago, and I'm still using it. And it's actually pretty freaking hilarious because Ryan, I told him, I said, just find a compressor online. I said, find the cheapest 1/3 horsepower compressor you can find and order it, and I'll put it in there for you. Because I put a used compressor that had been sitting in my garage for years, and it ran for a few years, and I ran that as a proof of concept just to see what would happen. And so it finally crapped out. So he bought this compressor that goes into like a walk-in, not a walk-in cooler, but a glass door cooler with those big, I don't know if you've seen, they're got these giant capacitors bolted to the side of the compressor, and
I've seen those.
they're made for, and the only reason I know this is because I learned it from one of the comments. Was a guy was telling me that it's a high pressure start compressor. So apparently that big capacitor, the way it works is that it's made to start often. So like I guess if the head pressure doesn't go down and it can start up, it has enough power to get over that and start and run. So he bought one of those, not really knowing what it was, and we put it in there, and the thing was drawing like 4 amps while it was running. And I said, man, this has got to, I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm looking at it. And there's something wrong. This ain't working right. The 4 amps is way too much power. It's not, something's broke. I don't have something right. And I'm looking around and looking. And finally, I pull the sheet out the box and it shows all the running amperages, and that's what it was supposed to be. So it's pretty damn funny in that aspect, is that he got this refrigerator that's supposed to be like super efficient, run at probably less than 1 amp, 0.8 amps or something like that. And I went and shoved the 4 amp compressor in the thing, and he's still using it. So, you know, you find out stuff, you learn stuff along the way. That's how I learned everything, and it's cool to me. It's fun.
Now, let me ask you this. This is I got a well, let me ask you this. I'm gonna save that question. I'm gonna ask you another question. I don't think I've ever addressed on this channel what are the prerequisites or things that one should look for when hiring a technician or a subcontractor. I'm curious. You said you have Ryan, and shout out brother Ryan. If you're watching, brother Ryan, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. What would you tell the audience that's watching this, saying, you know, I got a guy, I got a family member, I got a friend of mine in the military that's about to get out, a guy coming home from prison, whatever, truck, whatever. What would your advice be to an individual that's doing appliance repair, one-man shop, and thinking about expanding and bringing somebody new onto their team? What would be some advice you would give them?
As far as, I think attitude is probably the biggest thing to look
What
for.
are you looking for? Talk about it.
I think that's the biggest thing. Somebody who can relate to somebody who can take instruction, somebody who can also think for themselves. It's a hard balance to do this kind of stuff because you got to be smart. You can't be stupid and do this. Well, I mean,
Talk about it.
You got to be smart, but you got to be able to take instruction too, to be able to know what you don't know. So it's attitude is my number one look for, because you can talk. It's kind of like they talk about in football. You can teach somebody to catch a ball, but you can't teach somebody to be fast. So they got to be able to talk to people. They've got to be able to make people feel comfortable. They've got to be able to talk to you. They've got to be able to explain to you what just happened. And that's going to be it's a lot of the thing is what just happened. And there's even seeing posts on Facebook and in the forums, a lot of people can't just say what happened and get it down to, okay, it's supposed to fill, squirt, drain, heat, and it's not squirting. Okay, that's good enough. That is what happened. You know exactly what happened. They get all of this clutter in their mind, and it just messes everything up. It doesn't work right. So you got to be able to get somebody who can communicate, make somebody feel comfortable, and get away from all. Just get straight down to the bottom. And even if they don't know the answer, be able to look at somebody and say, "I don't know yet. Just let me look at it." You know, and make the person feel like they're okay. The guy he's going to take care of. That's ultimately what you're looking for in this, is that you can put your trust into this guy or girl. I think girls would be great for this job, actually. But
all the ladies that are female appliance repair technicians, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button.
And that's what has to come across. The biggest thing is the attitude, the kind of confidence of it doesn't matter. I don't really know what's going on, but if it takes me 10 hours, I'm going to figure out what's going on with it. And then that conveys over, and it builds trust between you, the person, and the customer. And you can teach them the rest, but you can't teach somebody how to interact with somebody else. So that attitude, to be able to do that is the most important thing that I would look for. And along with that attitude, of course, come trust and honesty. And you don't have to worry about the guys stealing some old lady's ring off of a counter.
Man.
All that kind of, you got to be able to trust who you're working for. So the trust and attitude is the biggest thing to me.
Brother, man, I remember one time I seen a Rolex, man. And I know that it was a real Rolex, because the area I was in, and the Range Rover parked outside, and the BMW 745 I parked outside. Like, I knew that these people weren't faking. Brother, I seen it, and my eyes looked away. It went like, these were my eyes. Because I didn't even want the customer to look back and catch me looking at it. So I seen it and turned my head, because, brother, once you get that reputation, and they go on Yelp, Angie's List, whatever, Google, whatever, and they put, this guy stole from me. Ooh.
Yeah, the guy who taught me, he was accused of that. She lost her jewelry, and she had her jewelry, and come to find out, she had her jewelry in a coffee cup that wound up in her bathroom, and the last place she saw it was in the kitchen. And he went in there, and we make enough money. We don't got to steal anything from anybody, nor anyway. I mean, it's just stupid. So she calls the police. The police are on him constantly for 2 months, telling him, I know you stole that old lady's jewelry. I know you got it. Just bring it back. And they harassed the hell out of him. And so finally, he didn't hear from the police anymore, and he said, something's funny, something ain't right. So he called the customer back. He said, hey, the police ain't calling me anymore. What, did you find your jewelry? And they finally told him. They said, yeah, we found it. It was in the bathroom. So it's just too much. But when he was going through that, he was razzled. He wasn't right. He was. I mean, you imagine being accused of stealing something from somebody's house. It's like the last thing that we would ever do is steal what? Even in that case, how much is a Rolex? $5,000?
I don't know, bro, because I ain't that rich. But bro, one time I got accused. Listen to this. One time I did a lady's deep freezer. Very nice lady. I did, but it was one of those families that when you go inside, there's like 9 children, 3 cats, 2 dogs that you don't know if they're strays or they're the people's. There's no door. It's just an open policy. You got people all over the place. Well, I'm working on this deep freezer and I'm done with it. I think it was the drain was clogged and I steamed it out and whatever. And now I'm done putting it back together and I leave. And you know, she called me about a month, 1 month after, and said, I have a Game Boy that's missing and you were at my house. Did you steal it? I'm like, a Game Boy? $85 or I don't even know how much a Game Boy is. I'm like, a Game Boy? I'm like, no, I didn't take your Game Boy. Why would I? Blah, blah. You know, I felt offended, but I didn't want to like, you know, come off hostile or nothing. But like, I couldn't believe I was accused of stealing an $85 Game Boy. Can you believe that?
No, it's terrible. Like we have don't have time to do that kind of stuff. But I know what you mean about that Rolex. I was at a person's house one time, and I swear they had a bucket of jewelry on their counter.
Ooh.
Had a dish that was about that big around, and they had the biggest diamond I ever seen in my life. And I swear that diamond was this big. And I said, don't look at it. I was there, worked on the Sub-Zero and left. You know, like,
Brother.
I wish I'd have just put that away. I don't even want to look at it.
Brother, you know, you've known me. If anybody's known me, it's you. You've known me for a long time. And you remember back in the channel, I would always say, I don't know why guys or gals would even entertain that thought. Ever since they came out with that show, Chris Hansen, How to Catch a Predator. Brother, I'm always in the house. If a screw falls behind the washer and I have 3 out of 4, you know, that's good odds. Like that panel isn't going to come off, but that screw fell. I always look behind my back and I say, I come to a crossroads. I say, I could take out my magnetic, you know, little stick and get the screw and put it, or I could just leave it. 3 out of 4 is going to work. But brother, I always imagine these people have hidden cameras and Chris Hansen is going to come around that corner any minute now and says, hey, have a seat. You drop that screw. So I always, back in the days when I first started, I always would think like I'm being surveyed or, you know, you don't know who's watching you, whatever. Because, you know, this was a thing, this Chris Hansen stuff. So anyway, and then they have, even in the news, you know, you see people take their cars to get worked on and they put little hidden cameras in the cars and you see people not doing what they're supposed to do. So I always, my thing is like, man, they'll never catch me on that because I'm not going to do it. But now I've evolved and I don't do it because of that. Now I do it just because, and I know it may sound cheesy, but karma, you know, I believe strongly in that. That's my moral compass. And, you know, brother, I look at it like this. You take something that's not yours, it's going to come back to you. You're going to pay it back. But you may pay it back double, triple. And then you ask yourself, like, is it really worth it? Do you need these headaches, you know, ruin your brand, your business? And then, you know, you see it all the time. You got companies that change their names every 2-3 months. Why? They get a bad review. They open up a new company. They get a bad, but it means so much when you have a company and that it says 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years in business. Like that holds so much more merit than a company, than one of these fly-by-night companies, you know. So that's kind of like my take on it. That's like my moral compass as far as like that topic.
Well, that's the easy way to think of it, is just do everything like you're on camera. And that's kind of how I've thought about it for years. And it's, you know, I'm not saying that I'm going to go after that screw that's behind those 2 washer and dryer that's stacked on pedestals that fell back in the corner of an impossible vintage.
Yeah, 2 out of 4. That's it.
But I will tell you, I got extra screws in my bag, and it's going to get filled. So
yeah,
that's how I do that. As long as nobody's going to step on it, you know, that's all I worry about. Is somebody getting a screw in that foot. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason for any of that. We don't need to do that. We make plenty of money.
Yeah, man. And it gives the game a black eye, man. Then, you know, imagine what the next guy that's going to go behind you got to deal with. As soon as he gets there, they're gonna like be super on top of him and surveying him. And the reason is they just got robbed
Are you
by.
still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Did you lose?
Okay. My connect. Yeah, I lost you for a second there. My connection dropped out, I guess.
What I was saying is that, you know, one thing about us appliance repair technicians, anything that we do, good or bad, it affects the guy that comes behind you. So if the experience was bad, they're gonna judge you because they're gonna lump us up into one group. That it was bad with him, it's gonna be bad with you. So now we gotta regain the customers like trust and confidence so that, you know, we can rebuild that relationship. Same goes with if the technician is super good, then they're gonna expect super good every time. So to my brothers watching this and sisters watching this, think about the guy that's gonna come behind you, you know.
That's actually one of my biggest fears with this is that we get lumped into the parts monkeys, and they just give up, because what will happen eventually is that people are gonna. I can see it where they called somebody out, especially with this stuff that breaks a lot. When you get somebody, they come out and they didn't. I don't think the guy knew what he was doing, and then he charged me $400, and then it didn't really work right ever again. And so, you know, we're not doing that again. We're just going to throw it away and buy another one. And that's just a tremendous disservice to people.
Our livelihoods.
Well, it's going to come back and it's going to bite us eventually. And, you know, hopefully there'll be enough time where we can finish out our careers and retire. If that's, you know, and that's another thing. Start saving. If you ain't saving, start saving now. I'll get on my soapbox with that one. So that's something that I really worry about. I try to, of course, sometimes I come off as a complete dick in some of the groups, and I have in the past about honor your warranty and do what's right. Because if you don't, it's going to hurt us eventually. It's not just going to affect you. You'll be out of business in 2 years, 3 years. But those customers that had that experience with you, they're going to not call us because the last guy they called didn't know what he was doing. They charged him $600, and they won't answer the call after they left. And, you know, it's just a bad situation. So that's kind of one of my things. I don't like that at all.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you think I am how I am. I've been groomed by the finest. Now, brother Paul, we're coming up on the hour here. And believe it or not, as soon as I'm done here, I got a 9:30 appointment at my other segment, which is called the call-in hour. You should check it out one day. It's very good. It's entertaining. People call me, they ask me tech support, ask me questions about how to get into the business. I even get trolls, people that call me with the most weirdest calls. But anyway, I say all that to say this. I want to go into our last segment of the show, which is called our lightning round. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here and try to limit every question to 10 seconds or less. You up for the challenge?
All right.
Favorite tool?
Milwaukee Impact.
Milwaukee Impact drill.
Yeah.
If I can, what's one tool you can't live without?
Milwaukee Impact.
You can live without a voltmeter?
That's a tough question. Yeah, well, I mean, I've got terrible arthritis in my hand, so
I
don't know.
okay. Lightning round. Favorite appliance to work on?
Sub-Zero. Anything.
Favorite appliance type to work on?
Refrigerator.
Worst appliance type to work on?
Frigidaire.
But what though? Washer, dryer, blah blah blah.
All of them.
Frigid? I feel like that was Fisher Paykel. Okay.
Okay, I don't do very many of those. All right.
Allegedly, because we don't know who's watching or listening to this. Hypothetically, allegedly, most you ever made in a day, allegedly.
Including seal systems, probably about 6,000.
Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Okay, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
being more managerial, or like a lead technician kind of role, where I can go out, just diagnose, and I wouldn't have to do the work. I would love that. I think just be able to diagnose things and send one of my guys out to change the parts in them.
10 seconds. Okay. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Shit, I'd be happy to be alive in 10 years.
All right, brother Walt, listen, man. Go ahead and name me the name of the Facebook group that you're a part of, please.
Facebook? Oh, my Facebook?
Yeah, don't you have a group that you are part of? Like, don't you have your Facebook group?
There's a ton of them. They're out there. They're just the comic.
Okay,
Everybody.
but none.
You know, there's one thing that I would like to bring up, and this may be if it's up to if it's something that you're willing to do. Something that we didn't even get to talk about was control board repairs, and how that is gonna. I believe that control board repairs is going to be a big saving grace to our industry if we can get all people on the same page about doing them. Because it's the control boards with the prices that they're getting at, and how much it is. When you can fix a board and you can charge somebody $250, you walk out with $240 profit. You're in there for 15 minutes, however long it is to take it out, put it in, fix the board, put it back. That's the kind of stuff that we got to come up with to be able to drive the future of appliance repairs, and stop listening so much to what the companies are telling us, because the companies, they're there to make money. They're there to sell parts. They're there to sell appliances. If we can get around that kind of stuff, then we can make a ton of money. We can bring a lot of faith to this industry, and we can keep the industry going for a long time. And I think that may be a subject that may even warrant its own show on. And if you're interested in it, I'd like to take that on with you.
Oh,
you don't have to answer me now. You know,
done. Oh, brother, sign me up, man. Listen, I'm there, man. Before I let you go, right? We're gonna bring you on for part 2, okay? That's for sure. But before I let you go, I wanna send you on a departure. Personally, I'm online here and I can't fake this, but man, again, you know, when I first started, I didn't have mentorship. There wasn't none of this. None of this was existent. But again, man, you embraced me in that channel. You know, you and along with the rest of the guys, you guys have groomed me, and I've disappeared, man, and I apologize for that. But as you see, man, I've been building this thing over here on YouTube, and I want to join the two groups together. You know, the guys who kind of molded me, that I look up to, with the audience, because man, I feel like a lot of these guys can learn from you, especially the guys who are just starting. And again, thank you for being a true friend, and thank you for always being there. And I'm honored to have you on tonight. I wanted to have you on for a long time because you mean something to me. So thank you for being part of this, brother.
I'm glad you invited me on. I'm glad we finally were able to get together, man. Anytime I'd come down here, I get around there, I'd love to hang out. You know, that's just kind of how I am. I appreciate it. So I consider you a friend, and if anything I can do to help you out ever, and I think it's cool that you're doing this, and I appreciate you giving me the hour on your channel. So.
Thank you, brother. Brother, for those that want to get in contact with you, that may have questions, comments, concerns, you know, how can guys reach out to you? You froze up, brother. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
The easiest way for me is on my YouTube channel.
You may have to repeat that, brother.
Ask me a question. I will.
Wait, brother. There's lagging going on. There's some lagging.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but there's lagging.
Should be working.
Okay, say the name of your YouTube channel.
My YouTube channel.
Go ahead. What's your YouTube channel?
Let me know when you see me back.
I see you, but a little blurry. But go ahead. What's your YouTube channel?
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, slow. It's just the appliance technician, or Walter Baumy, my name.
The
appliance technician.
The appliance repair technician,
cool.
Or Walter.
I'll answer eventually. It might not be right away. I'm on there. I check it every couple of days. Or tag me on one of the pro talk. No. Baumy. Baumy.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, that's Walter, B as in Bravo, A as in Alpha, U uniform, M Mike, Y Yankee.
Yes.
Brother, I want to thank you for being part of the show. Thank you for being part of the network. Let's you and I get together about that board repair. I think that that's something that a lot of people would be interested in. So let's please get together on that. Shoot me a DM and let me know when you're available. And I love to do it, brother. Thank you for being part of tonight's show.
Cool. Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. Talk shop all day.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host with the most, Brother B. You could be anywhere in the world, but you here with me. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and please hit the share button for our guest tonight, Brother Walter Baumy. And again, you can find him at YouTube, The Appliance Repairman, or go ahead.
The Appliance Technician.
Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. The Appliance Technician. Brother, just put it in the comment section when the video uploads. They'll probably upload tomorrow. But brother, love you, man. Love, peace, and harmony, man. And I hope to see you again, all right? Take care.
See you next time.
It was good seeing you, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen. There y'all have it. Y'all take care.